Hi, welcome to another Learn, Grow, Invest video. My name is Jermaine. I'm the co-founder for this community, and we're all about investing on this channel. We like to cover topics that impact you as the investor, provide information for situations that you may not fully understand. This video is no different. We've been seeing a lot of questions in our Telegram group about Massy's, upcoming cross listing. So we have David Rose here joining us to explain what a cross listing is, what you should expect, how to understand maybe some of the things that are unclear for you. So that's what we're going to get into today. If it's your first time here, feel free to subscribe, like this video. Definitely, it helps us grow. And let's jump right into this. All right, so I definitely have to say as well that anything discussed here is for discussion, entertainment, and illustrative purposes only, and should not be construed as professional financial advice, solicitation, or recommendation to purchase Massy or any other company that we'll discuss here today. All right, David, how you doing, man?
I'm a little tired, but hey,
Man, tell me about
I
it.
go a quick walk, so I'm just trying to cool down now. But hey, the show has to go on.
Yep. I had a long day as well. So yeah, let's just get right into it. Help persons to understand. Let's first describe what a cross listing is. All right, let's help them get that context.
So to simplify it in a short answer, it's just a company listing on another stock exchange, which probably might be different than their own domestic stock exchange. So, for example, Massy Holdings Limited is a Trinidad-based holding company, investment management company. But and it's on the TTSC already, the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange. The thing is, they're going to be cross-listing, meaning listing on the JSE come this Thursday, or basically January 27. And for those who didn't know, Spring Ventures Limited, that gambling company that since stock people sometimes don't like to talk about, it used to be listed on the TTSE as well. I don't know when they got delisted, but hey, it's some history for you. And there are a couple of companies on the JSE that we know and love here that's actually cross-listed on the TTSE and JSE. So NCB Financial Group, JMMB Group Limited, Grace Kennedy Limited, Epic Camera Property Fund, the Value Fund in particular, and MPC Carbon Clean Energy. Those companies are currently, and Guardian Holdings Limited as well, which recently cross-listed last year.
So we'll share the listing of those companies that David just mentioned in the description after this video is over, so you can just understand a little bit more of what we're saying here today.
Yeah, right. And for the context, additional context, in the USA, you have companies such as Alibaba, which is cross-listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange and the New York Stock Exchange. It's not something that's domestically specific to our region, but something happens across the world.
So I mean, thanks for that, David. What does a cross listing impact, right? So does it mean that the stock trades in TT, trades in Jamaica, and we see that information consolidated, separate?
No. Yeah. No. So to break that down, it's still the same company, same shares. However, some shares will be traded on one exchange, some will trade on another exchange. So although Guardian is trading on both JSE and TTSE, the trades are necessarily mixed up at the end of the day and calculated as a total. It's independent each exchange itself. So,
okay. So who determines how many shares are on each? So if a company has 100 shares, okay, go ahead.
So let me break that down. So it's not necessarily who determines, but it just comes down to basic supply and demand. So the reason why cross listings in the region in particular are so interesting, especially since you're going to see cross listings to an extent between the Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange, is because in the Trinidad, for those who don't know, they have a severe US dollar situation. So like in Jamaica, we can just go to a cambio and say, boss, want $20 US. And you can just get the $2,000 JA to get $20 US. In Trinidad, that's not the case. Like, literally, if you're planning to withdraw a particular amount of US or even just go to the bank to get US, you're going to hear, you have to wait a couple of weeks or you probably fill out a particular form. It's not easy. So Even JMB Bank in Trinidad, like the debit card is limited to like $250 a month, to my recent knowledge, and that's basically like almost 40 grand in Jamaica. So imagine working, call it just a little bit above minimum wage, but you can't spend money in US dollars.
Yeah.
So no Amazon, to be honest, to that extent, or other luxuries you get by spending overseas.
Okay.
So
So,
let me I'm going to just finishing. So the reason why the crisis is so impactful in essence is because what happens is that persons in Trinidad or in Jamaica can do what you'd call an inter CSD transfer. CSD meaning Central Security Depository. So they're the ones that actually hold the shares in custody and everything. So what happens is that in the case of Massy, you have Trinidadians over there, and even I know Jamaicans here who are, bringing their Massy shares here to Jamaica, putting them on the sell queue, putting our ask price up, and that's what really determines, how much shares are going to end up being traded here in Jamaica, in the sense of how many shares are going to be carried over to Jamaica, and when people are actually going to buy.
okay. So, I mean, that definitely will have an impact on the price that we'll see on the day, right?
Yes,
So can we look at what is currently trading for on the TTSE, and to give persons an idea? Um, I wanted to also get into, maybe somebody has never heard about Massy before, maybe speak a little bit about what they do, who
sorry.
they are, that kind of thing.
Give me a second. I'm going to share my screen and so you can appreciate what I'm speaking about. So it's loading. You can see my screen, Jermaine.
Yeah, zoom in though.
Give me a second. So as you can see clearly.
Let's ask the guys. Guys, can you see clearly? It's okay for me, but I do have a large screen, so continue. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay for me.
So as you can see right here, Mass's closing price was 105.98 TT dollars. And since we're going to be lazy or we're just going to be efficient, we're going to put it in Google to find out what's the Jamaican dollar price. So in this case, it is 2,433.08 cent Jamaican dollars.
Okay.
So as you can see, Massive's market cap is 10.48 billion, 10.49 billion TT, more than 243 billion Jamaican dollars. Second largest company by market cap when it does list on Thursday. And for those wondering, this is what the TTSC website looks like. So like it tells you the name of the company, the symbol, the sector they put it together in, the financial year end, and you can see the chart of Massy. So let us go back to April 2020. And the reason why I had to bring this chart back up to right here is because, for context, Massy announced on May 5, or actually on the weekend, that they're planning to cross this on the Jamaica Stock Exchange in a couple months, right? So you saw Massy was trading at 50 TT, and when news came out, people are like, yeah, man, I have to get on this. And Massy has been producing some stellar results. I'm going to get into that after. And as the year progressed and it got closer and closer to, oh, sorry, I'm going to get 2020 by accident. Right here, around here, around 64 TT, it went up from 65 and just kept chasing up, came down a little bit, but came all the way up here to, you can see right here, it has 109.33 TT because you person have to get some massive shares and you my US dollars. So even when the pandemic kind of hit back then, it didn't seem like the pandemic hit from 60 TT to what 45 TT, and it just recovered like nothing. So Massy is a little bit more resilient to the pandemic than our market. So that kind of gives us some context as well. And for
Yeah.
those who are wondering which country Massy is from, we can listen to some Trinidadian song music. Yep. And when I was at the AGM on Friday, it's just steel pans, straight steel pans being played, and I'm like, yo, this is real Caribbean culture.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
for those who would be familiar with Massy by another name, Massy was known as Neil and Massy in the past. So that is why it probably seems so unfamiliar to some persons and familiar to the older folks who would know the Massy name, but would remember where the Neil missing from.
Yeah, I wanted us to talk about that for a little bit as well, about what they do, who they are, what type of industry they're operating, who are their potential competitors, if any, just so persons can understand the company itself.
All right, so Massy it was a conglomerate company up to May 2000, not May, up to 2018. So they had businesses across so many sectors and spaces. I'm not going back to Massy past 2019 for obvious reasons, because if I went back any further, I probably get to so flustered with the volume of information I would see about this company. So for those who didn't know, in this case, those known HD Hopwood and Company, this was actually acquired by Massy Holdings Limited. And for those wondering why the year is so specific, 2001, that was when we had FinSac. This is when all the Trinidad and Barbadian companies, that time came in and say, Jamaica's on sale, let me buy some good companies. So, in 2009, the company changed its name to Massy Distribution Jamaica Limited. And Clean and a couple of products, can't remember all of them right now, are distributed by Massy Distribution. So if you're checking out Khalila's page and you've been following the recent stories and you've seen all those purchases he's been getting, yeah, Massy Distribution Jamaica distributes those products.
Okay.
And then to further add on to that, everybody knows 18884 Gas Pro. That catchy jingle I always hear about, that is Massy Gas Product Jamaica Limited.
The
Now it's
company
Gas Pro
is
too.
Massy Distribution, right? Because I want to
Massy
post it.
distribution is the distribution of goods. Massy gas product is the gas pro song you're always hearing about.
Okay, so where can we go to see information about the company? Like somebody wanted to leave here and say, some of the information that you're mentioning, which
So
URL we point them
can
to?
you type it into Google or go on the website? But annual report will be the best place to go and look at. I have it open right here, so
All
I
right,
can zoom in.
send it to me in private chat, and I'll bring it up, or you can just share it.
I'm just gonna share the link with you,
Mhm.
and you can do this after. But let me share my screen so
Yeah.
you can see the annual report.
Okay, and I'll post it in the description as well, guys, so that you can have it.
So you see my screen now?
Yep.
Oh, I've gone a little bit too far. So Massy in the 2021 is a very different company than a couple of years ago. So, you're seeing Massy showing all these strong performances. So right here you can see the $11.13 billion TT in revenue, 8.02 in earnings per share TT. They paid this amount in dividends for the financial year, paid 35%, 36% in dividend payout ratio, a 44% total return to shareholders. And you can see, where is it? I don't see it immediately, but you should have seen 12,000 plus strong Massy employees. So the reach is pretty deep and far. Jeremy, can you give me a quick second?
Sure, no problem. All right. So, I mean, this is definitely not meant to be a stock review. So we're not going to do the usual, going through the financials, looking at price history. Well, we would have to look at the TTSE for that. So we're going to schedule that for another day. The main scope of this discussion was really to cover the cross listing, because we realized a lot of persons didn't quite understand what that meant. So if you're just joining us, that's what we've been talking about. So if you missed the earlier part of the video, just go ahead and check that out. We're actually going to be wrapping up soon. I'm going to just be asking David a couple more questions, about, what to expect on Thursday. what are some of the things that investors may be interested in, just so that you understand and know how to prepare, just in case you're interested. So I am going to link the annual report because you'll definitely want to go through that if you want to make a decision on this company. So I'm going to share that in the chat now. And then just if you're watching this on the replay, it's going to be linked in the description as well. So once David gets back, we're going to wrap that up. Since we do have some time here, I want to invite you, if you haven't done so before, to join us on Telegram. We talk investing every day in that group. We also have an investment class coming up. The link will be in our link tree. So any one of our platforms, just check out that link. It's the very first link at the top. We have that class in a couple of weeks. We're going to be doing stock analysis using financial statements. It should be a very, very good session. If you don't understand how to do that, this is a class to learn it. We're going to make it easy to understand, so you don't have to worry about it. And let me actually, since you're waiting for David to get back, I might as well just kind of go through that report, just share my screen and go through it. All right, so let me share the Telegram link for you. So is there anyone here who is interested in Massy as a company? What's your position on it? Are you looking forward to it? Well, I figure that since you're here, you're interested in it, or at least you want to understand what a cross listing is. Okay, so I'll wait for those responses to come in. All right, we're giving David another 2 minutes to join us back. But as I said, if you're just joining us, we're talking about Massy. So let me bring up their annual report in the meantime. Let me just bring that up. So I said I wasn't going to do the review, but because we have this time, I might as well start looking through it, right? Let me just connect another screen here. All right, David is back. All right.
That's like a 2 or 3 minute interval.
Yeah. All right. So we'll definitely take those questions at the end. Keep them coming. Yeah, David. So
can you get back to the share screen? You can see my screen again?
Yeah, seeing it.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention at the start, and because it's live and we're gonna look back at it later, a quick reminder, this is not an IPO. We didn't get the chance to mention this question a while ago, Jermaine, and I want to highlight it especially now. So an IPO is an initial public offering. A company goes public only once. If it probably gets delisted and it has to release in the future, you can call it an IPO again if you want, but it's already listed. And in the case of a cross listing, it's not an IPO.
Well, IPO means initial, so if it's not the first time, it can't be considered.
But that's the thing about it. Persons have been making that mistake and saying, where's the Massy IPO? Where's the Massy distributor's IPO? You see why I had this thought, I'm like, after this, discuss it now. Because I said, you have a person who's going to have this misconception, probably share this video, and say, hey, the Massy IPO coming out tomorrow, So I had to just, I had to say it a while ago because I don't want a vegetarian person saying, the Massy IPO is Thursday. You understand? You have to just break these misconceptions and educate persons, when we realize that, people are saying these things.
Yeah, agreed.
So to clarify and add further context, EPCPFV, the Value Fund, they did a secondary listing on the JSE while cross-listing at the same time in July 2019. So they at the time had raised more than $3 billion in fresh equity capital and cross-listed to the JSE. They were already listed on the Barbados and Trinidad and Tobago stock exchanges, but they decided to cross on the JSE. At the same time, they did a prospectus issue. It should be a secondary public offering, or in other quote unquote terms, or APO. In retrospect, you understand? Which
Okay.
you know as an additional public offering. So in the case of Massy's listing on Thursday, guys, it's just a regular listing by introduction. There are no new shares being issued. Same company.
Okay. Clear. And for anyone who doesn't fully understand, well, we'll definitely get to some of those questions soon. But yeah, so David, continue with the intro of the company. After we cover the intro, we're just going to talk about what to expect again on Thursday. Then we take some questions and then we wrap up. Because as I said, this is not a full stock review.
Yeah, I
So,
understand. I
and
just
this
had
is
to,
meant to be a
remember
short.
that mental thing a while ago. I had to just remember it because I was like, you understand? Yeah,
Yeah, man,
so
I got you. All
at
right,
a
so
glance, right here, they're showing the profit before tax with respect to the portfolio or line of business. So right now, Massy has three main portfolios: integrated retail, gas products, and motors and machines. Financial services and strategic and other investments, that's 16% right there. Massy is divesting that segment more and more and focusing on those other three core business lines right there. So, and when you go down here to profit before tax by territory, you would also see that Jamaica, although we only have quote unquote three massive subsidiaries in Jamaica, we make up 6% of groups' profit before tax by territory, and also 6% of groups' revenue by territory as well. To show you that even though Jamaica is a small smudge for Massy, in relative terms, there's still a significant segment as a country.
yeah.
And there exists the 13,000 employees right here, the 15 countries and 60 plus companies. So as you can see right here, in this case, for those who didn't remember, the symbols right here: financial services, integrated retail, and gas products. So in this case, this would be Massy Gas Products Jamaica, Massy Distributors Jamaica, Massy United Insurance Jamaica branch. And for those who are talking about is motors and machines, it's like how you have Stewart Automotive here in Jamaica, you know, those car dealerships. That's what Massy Motors and Machines is. And as you can see right here, zoom in a little more, you can see Massy's reach across the region, you know, South Florida, Jamaica, Cayman, Turks and Caicos, Belize, Colombia, Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, St. Vincent, you know, the full spread. Figures I'm saying, as you can see right here, at least the countries or where they're actually located. But I wanted to show you that so you can appreciate how far Massy's reach is. So although Grace Kennedy has such a large reach internationally, has a reach in Jamaica and has a deep presence across the region through Western Union, Massy has that proper presence in across the region, that proper Caribbean conglomerate, because the only company I can think of right now that kind of reach in the Caribbean is Sagicor Financial Corporation through Jamaica, which owns Sagicor Jamaica, Sagicor like Eastern Caribbean, and so on. As you can see right here, they list the subsidiaries, so you can appreciate, you know. So as you can see, Massy Distributors Jamaica right here. Let me zoom in. Massy Gas Products Jamaica. And they show you the different motors and machine subsidiaries. But in this case, you won't see any more Jamaican subsidiaries. And for those who don't know, the Chancellor of UWI, Robert Bermudez, is the chairman of Massy Group. Mr. Patrick Hilton, the CEO of NCB Financial Group, is a director on Massy. And you know, they use this, as you can see, is a pretty wide, diverse range of persons. So these may not be familiar, but trust me, pretty strong. So they're the AGM, and in the case of Massy, the stock split was approved with a 75% majority. So,
Hold on, David. Pause there. So zoom in to that a little
all right.
bit. All right. So when persons hear stock split, they get excited. So go again. Tell us about that.
So I was explaining that you had a 75% majority approving the stock split at the AGM. So for those who don't know, a stock split doesn't destroy value. So in essence, what the stock split does, that reduces the number of shares in circulation, and it in turn results in you having more shares in circulation but at a reduced price. So, as I showed earlier, Massy is currently trading for 2,433.08 Jamaican dollars. Now, I know I'm not a person who's going to stick up and say, here, I'm not afraid to buy a company if it's pretty good value. But some person want to be like, 2 grand for one stock? Like, we're Jamaicans, like, people already have a particular
Mindset.
reaction when they hear Grace Kennedy or NCB of $100 trading $100 and like, I want to buy that stock. It's expensive. And, the Massy Holdings plans to, raise additional capital in the future to, grow the business. And they realized that after Guardian Holdings, listing and the unsuccessful nature of, the prices action after, I said, hey, Jamaicans who are looking to earn money from Jamaicans, let's just split the stock. So it isn't a quote unquote penny stock in Trinidad, but we can still extract value in Jamaica. So
Okay.
I'm gonna share.
So when is the date to expect
March
this?
11 is the record date.
Okay.
So sorry, the effective date. So even if you aren't a massive shareholder right now, you have until right around March 7 or 8 to really benefit from the stock split.
If you're interested, and
Yeah,
definitely speak to a licensed financial advisor before you make that decision.
yeah. So they're showing right here, the quality isn't clean. Sorry about that, but yeah. So they're showing right here that Massy with no split is 2,423.62 Jamaican dollars. GHL with no split is at 530 JMD. NCB Financial Group is 127 JMD.
Yeah.
Massy post split is 121.18 JMD and 100 Jamaican dollars for Grace Kennedy Limited. So what
Ah,
Massy was saying at the AGM was that Grace Kennedy is their closest comparable company in nature. So that represented the lower base or the lower limit for pricing the stock coming to Jamaica. And then NCB as the largest company with a large regional reach was the company they used to say quote unquote upper band for the stock price when it's listing, you understand? Or after the quote unquote split, right? That's why
okay.
you see massive stock price in essence between Grace Kennedy and NCB Financial Group.
Well, that's just assuming the price remains the same.
Yeah, but as I said, who knows what happens in the next 2 months?
Yeah. All right. Okay. So I think we've covered a good overview of the company.
And let me
You know,
just show one quick thing. So, for those who aren't aware, Massy had a technology subsidiary called Massy Technologies Limited, which they sold to PBS Technology Group, and then PBS Products and Business Solutions Limited, which is listed on the JSE on the US dollar market, acquired PBS Technology Group back in September 2021. So that's one massive subsidiary that we as Jamaican shareholders benefited from because of the disposal. And then Improved Investments Limited, they bought 50.5% of Roberts Manufacturing Company Limited, which is based in Barbados, from Massy. So you can see two Jamaican companies or two quote unquote Jamaican listed companies benefiting from Massy's quote unquote shift from being a conglomerate with a wide range of subsidiaries to just a company with three focused portfolios. So that's why you see the Jamaican companies benefiting now from Massy's disposal of shares. And as you can see right here, Massy had Shell gas stations in Jamaica and oil distribution in Jamaica. So Massy really had a pretty wide reach across the region in many businesses, and even a wide reach even in Jamaica. But they've kind of as I said, settled down and focused on what works best for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let me share the landing page Barita created for Massy,
Okay.
and let me explain why I'm saying that. So for those who don't know, Massy Limited is cross-listing is being led by the joint bid of Barita Investments Limited and First Citizens Investment Services Limited. FCIS owns I think 6% stake in Barita Investments Limited. So this is why I see Barita, showing Massy up in this way. So As they're showing you, they have the average financial statement right there, which was a precursor to the cross listing. It's telling you the date when the company is going to list. And although this have 5 lines of businesses, it's important to note that Massy is selling their insurance subsidiary, Massy United Insurance, to the L.E.A.R.N group, and they're looking to dispose of a couple more businesses as well. So it's really just quote unquote 3 lines of businesses in essence. And for those looking right here interested in buying Massy shares, a predetermined explanation, so there's no confusion. Massy is not an IPO, so there's no need to call a broker or whatever and say, hey, I want to get into this particular quote unquote IPO, and it's an IPO. So if you're already having a JCSD account, have access to online trading through JTrader or JMB Moneyline or maybe its own platform, once Massy shares come up on that platform, you can buy Massy on Thursday. So if you have an investment account, you can check Barita or on the other 40 other JSE brokers there. But I am saying you do not need to have a Barita account to buy Massy come Thursday. It will be publicly traded, so you can buy it to any brokerage account you already have if you already have an existing brokerage account.
Okay.
And they're showing Massy's financial highlights, and they converted it to Jamaican dollars, so at least you can appreciate Massy's size in Jamaican context, because, for example, $20.2 billion is pretty close to NTB's net profit, the NTB Financial Group's profit after tax of $19 billion. And they're showing, Massy's diversified reach, the dividend yield, line a bit integrated retail, gas products, motors and machines, and showing the annual report. But as I said, please key reminder, Massy is not doing an IPO. You don't need to go to Barrett to open an account with them. If you have an account already with their broker, you can come in on the platform already. You can buy the shares on Thursday.
Well, I mean,
because
if you're interested in opening an account at Barita, go ahead, but you don't need a Barita account to access Massy if you already have a broker.
And the reason why I'm emphasizing this so hard is because in the past, brokers would say when there are issues with the quote unquote platform to buy a particular public offer, they'd be like, open an account with us. And I don't think that's fair, you understand?
Yeah.
And that's something in the industry that is disingenuous, saying that you have to do business with us to do certain things, which isn't always the case. So that's why I was being so aggressive.
Yeah, man, I understand. I just wanted to also go on the other side for persons to understand that for us, we're not concerned where you buy, who you sign up with, all of that stuff. That's completely up to you.
It's just the transparency and explaining what's going on.
Yeah.
So let's go to the questions that we're coming up. And I see Akeem Salmon's comment. Do you want to highlight it?
Yeah.
No, the one about JHL being an IPO.
Where is that? Okay.
704. So for a key reminder for those who weren't here initially, Guardian Holdings Limited wasn't an IPO either. So for context, on May 5, 2021, Guardian Holdings cross-listed back to the Jamaica Stock Exchange via listing by introduction. There were no new shares issued. However, the parent company of Guardian Holdings Limited, NCB Global Holdings Limited, they were attempting to dispose of 2 million shares, or offer for sale 2 million shares to the public on the JSE. Only 400,000 shares were purchased, and that wasn't an IPO either. That was just an offer for sale. So I can remind again, people, Guardian Holdings and Massy's cross listings were listed by introduction. They're not IPOs. There are no new shares being created in this case.
And what we'll probably do a separate video, David, to explain those different things. IPO, APO, cross listing, the different types of listing that exist, the difference between main and junior market, etc. We'll go into that because somebody from the Telegram group had asked us to cover that. All right, let's move to the next question.
So the thing is, it doesn't matter if you are buying before the stock split or after the stock split.
Well, I actually disagree there.
Let me explain.
Yeah, I would say if you're interested in buying and you can buy pre-split, you should buy it. And let me tell you why. Because what persons don't understand, remember, so let's say that's split. Let's say that you can buy one share right now, right? That's all you have. When that split occurs, you have 20, right? It's the same if you have the capital to buy now, the number of shares you will have post split would actually be more if you buy it pre split, if that makes sense. You understand what I'm trying to say, David?
No,
So the
that's what you're
price,
saying. That's what I was
yeah,
going to point out, that with a stock split, they don't lose value. Because end of the day, the share price, quote unquote, decreases, you have more shares in your account. So instead of taking 5 from the stock to go from
well,
2,000 to
assuming
4,000.
that the price doesn't go up, because that's why I'm saying if you're interested by now, because if the price continues to go up, that same value, if you have $100,000 to buy and the price keeps going up, let's say it goes up to $4,000 per share, then essentially if you buy at 2.4 where it is now, the amount you will get would be different versus if it goes to 4,000 and then split, you'd essentially get less shares. And hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Let me know if it doesn't. I can maybe just put something up in Excel now and share it on the screen for you to see what I mean. But
Let me take it from my perspective. So the stock split, it only shows value. So for example, Salada had a stock split back in March last year, March 2021. So Salada was trading for, I believe it was $39, $40. So if you had 100 shares of Salada at $40, sorry, like 10,000 shares at Salada at $40, that's even $400,000, right? After the split, you now have a million shares at $4. So that went from $4 to as high as $9. So instead of getting from the second $40 to $90, you could have in effect sold your shares at $9, a million shares at $9, and collect $9 million in your sale, rather than waited from 40 to 90 over a longer time frame. So the thing is, for one, SaaS working ways to benefit, in the case of investors perceiving that stock price to be too high, trying to benefit that equilibrium between price in Jamaica, where we still like $100 shares, and the tradability of the stock, at the same time also benefiting liquidity sometimes, because the company doesn't have for example, isn't traded as much, then as such we can actually increase the liquidity of that stock. So for example, currently and frequency did a stock between September in October 2020, and their stock was rarely trading at all. There are numerous trading days where it didn't trade at all. So after the stock split, the stock was trading a lot more frequently. So let's go to a couple more questions before
yeah, let's take another one.
So with respect to the Trinidad issue, I can break it down. So I was explaining earlier about, really and truly, there's a FX control in Trinidad. So I was explaining that with JMB Bank in Trinidad, you can only, on a debit card, you can only use about 250 US dollars. And I was saying that if you go to the bank, they're gonna say, boy, we don't use to sell right now. And the IMF has called for Trinidad to end the FX controls, but until the controls are removed, what happens basically that in Trinidad, US dollar is basically a really damn good commodity in essence. So because of that, what persons do is that they transfer their shares from Trinidad for the cross-state stocks to the inter-CSE transfer to Jamaica, and sell those in the JSC to get the USD. What that does do, especially for some companies, is that it does result in higher selling pressure on that stock, which in turn does result in that loss of value. And what do you mean loss of value? So because President Trinidad is selling more of this particular stock on the JSE, it technically can suppress the price of a stock. So I've done an article on it. I'll share it to Jeremy after. But
Yeah,
that's something you should actually, look at and be concerned with to an extent. So I understand the concern, but you have to understand that it doesn't matter which market you're in. At the end of the day, if there is a way for persons who are deprived of US dollars to get access to US dollars, they're going to take the route.
yeah, yeah. All right, so I did work out an Excel just to hopefully explain for persons asking about the 2-to-1 split, what it will look like, etc. So I'll show that last. I want to take a couple more questions. We're going to wrap this up in about 10 minutes. All right.
All right. So I'm sending it back to the comments and go through a couple more questions.
Yeah, man, go ahead.
I answered this a while earlier, but listing by introduction, no additional shares. Persons are selling on Thursday. We can just buy it directly on the JSC. Otherwise, you can just open an account to JMB or NCB in Trinidad and buy shares on the TTSC. But if you're concerned about Jamaica, if you have a brokerage account already, you can just buy it on Thursday once there are sellers on the market already.
All right. And then, okay, so cool. I think that covers it. Let me share my screen. All right. So let me hide that. Okay. So this is what I was saying before, right? Hopefully you guys can see it. So if your capital is $10,000, right? As the price stands right now, let's say it's 2.5. Now this is just an example simplification, right? 2,500, you'd get 4 units, and then after it splits, you'd have 80 units, right? But let's say so this is what you're able to buy right now if it is you had $10,000. Let's say that price goes up to 3.5, then instead of 4 units, you'd only be able to buy 2.8 units, and then post split, it's let's say you go up to 60 units then. So as you say, the longer you take to buy it, if it is you're interested in it, then you get less units, right? Hopefully you guys understand what I'm saying. So for me, I've always looked at it that if I'm interested, this is all based on whether or not I'm interested in the company or not. You may not be. If you're interested in acquiring shares, your best opportunity, I think, to buy is when the price is before the split, because regardless of the capital you have, you'll still get more shares before the split than after. Because if we even take that down now and say, let's say it splits, and now the price is what, $200, right? So if it goes down to there, somebody may say, well, I can get 1,000 units. But remember, we're saying it's essentially the same value. But now let's say that this price doubles, because when the price is lower, the price may gain more momentum quickly. So you may not be able to get the number of units you want at that lower price, because let's say maybe it triggers circuit breaker. Who knows? We don't know. But let's say that you are only able to buy at 400, which would be a doubling. And you see the number of units you would have, which this would be now equivalent to $5,000 pre-split. Hopefully that makes sense. I know David can probably add some context if needed, but that is the way that I look at it. It's always better to buy it pre-split. If you're going to buy, you can always, dollar cost average after. But if you want to buy, then I would buy pre-split, because that puts you in the best position to get the most number of units. Because if you wait until after the split, with the price going up and your capital being finite, you're not going to get the same number of units.
So
hopefully that makes a lot of sense, right?
So you can touch on a couple of things already.
As a different calculation, feel free to share it in the comments. But this is something I've done with other stocks in the past that have split that I was interested in. I don't go after every stock split personally. It depends on the company. But we do have to understand the market that we're operating in, I guess. So let's see how this goes. You had something else you wanted to say, David, to close out?
Yeah, we're just gonna say that I hope persons, took notes of what we were saying and enjoy the replay and everything. But I shared my thread with Jeremy a while ago, my Twitter thread. I have my list of various articles in a Massy within the last year, and it's going to be a very good thing. I didn't get to address this during the time while we were speaking, because we're focused on explaining the company. But I got some goodies from Trinidad. Just a basic note of what the company and everything. I wish I could get a friend from Trinidad, but Hey, we take some books.
Another time for that one.
Yeah, don't worry, don't worry. You know what I'm talking about. So right here in the memorandum of shareholders, it's talking about the proposed division of the company shares, aka stock split. And they were saying, why does the company want to split the share? Transaction strategy related. The proposed share split is being recommended as part of the transaction strategy for the cross list of the company's shares on the Jamaica Stock Share Exchange. Not stock, but share exchange, right? The decision to cross-list the company's shares on the JSE took place at a meeting of the board of directors held on May 6, 2021, and was based on a number of strategic aims, including diversifying and increasing the company's investor base in preparation for future capital sourcing and increasing liquidity and trading activity of the company's shares. The shares could has the potential of enhancing the company's image and appeal to international investors, and allowing greater share price discovery to increase liquidity and trading activity of the company's shares based on the vibrancy of the JSE. Primarily, it is in support of the financial strategic aim outlined above that the proposed shares is being recommended. As within the shares 2041 positions it well with Jamaican retail investors who are the primary drivers of liquidity and trading activity in shares on the JSE. I'm going to explain that in a second, blue collar investor. I'm going to get to it in a second. Why does the company want to split the share? Company strategy related. Over the last 3 years, the company's board and executive management have did a transformation in approach to generating additional shareholder value through enabling greater autonomy to our core industry portfolios hereinafter the portfolios. The portfolios are therefore empowered to pursue their strategic growth and objectives, while the investment holding company adopted a more agnostic approach to performance evaluation of the portfolios in line with the shareholder value metrics such as earnings growth, return on invested capital, and return on equity, among others, that ensure each portfolio adds positive value to shareholders, accretive returns. This positive shift is a key enabler for the achievement of growth targets through 2024, which would require significant growth across all portfolios of the company. Enabling the growth needed will require the company to access capital through a number of different sources, including debt, mezzanine, debt equity, mezzanine, etc., and through a number of new capital markets. The cross-listing of the company's shares on the JSE is the first step in accessing new capital markets in preparation for sourcing the additional capital needed to drive growth and shareholder value going forward. That's a mouthful, but what Massy has basically told us is that they're planning to raise additional capital in the JSE, which should be an APO, additional public offering, and it never said when, but the can't tell you why Massy wants to list on the JSE. And I'm going to get to blue collar investors questions now. So anything you want to come in, Jermaine?
No, man, I was just gonna say, go ahead and answer, but keep it quick because we have
No, I
to.
know. I'm going to share it right now. So share screen.
If you're watching this on the replay and you have any additional questions, just post them in the comments, and I'm sure David will get to it.
All right. So a
Yeah, we
top
go.
shareholder is the National Insurance Board of Trinidad and Tobago, and those 19.8 million shares represents about 20% of Massy's overall shares in issue. So there's no controlling shareholder to that extent in Massy. It's really just a diversified pool of investors, mainly Trinidad-based investors who have that strength or ownership in Massy. And for those looking carefully, you'd realize that number 8, Garden Life of the Caribbean, is a subsidiary of Garden Holdings Limited, which is a subsidiary of NCB Financial Group. So NCB Financial Group already has an a direct exposure to Massy without having to actually buy more shares already.
And
So
that is gonna be before the split. So
yeah.
yeah. All
And
right.
this is the ownership of the directors and management. As you can see, Mr. Hilton owns no shares, but the CEO owns 671,033 shares. And you have Mr. Bermudez, who owns 14,820 shares, but his associate shareholdings of 3.12 million shares, which will put him in this case, case-making company related to the number 7 shareholder. So I hope that helps persons who are asking about the connected persons, the shareholdings, and so on. You can see it right here. Scrolling down again. The number one shareholder is National Insurance Board of Trinidad and Tobago. And you can see the various, in this case, financial companies, most of them, which have their ownership in Massy.
Yeah, and we're gonna share the links to everything as I said in the description. All right, cool. So thank you so much, David. You know, I reached out to David last night for us to do this video because I knew that with Thursday coming up, persons would want the information, so we didn't want to not be able to address it so you understand what to expect. So yeah, that's it. If you have any questions, join us in Telegram. We'll answer all of it there. So thank you, David. I'll definitely be catching up with you soon. All right.
All right.
All right. Cool. All right, guys. So I just wanted to let you know. So for tomorrow, we're gonna have the Jam Teas stock review. So stay tuned for that one. Be sure to turn on notifications. We actually went live without posting it because we wanted to see how much of our community had notifications turned on. So we may start popping up with more videos like this. So be sure you're subscribed. Be sure you turn on notifications because we won't be announcing all the videos anymore because we don't want it to feel like spam all the time. We're posting videos. So if you're interested, turn on notifications. Now, yes, I think that's it. I want to thank everybody for being here. Remember to register for the class. It's coming up on March 5th. Remember to join us on Telegram if you haven't done so yet. Please like this video. It helps us out. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you in our community groups, talking, learning, growing, and investing together. So before I go, I just wanted to remind you of our founding scripture, Deuteronomy 8:18, which says, remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you the ability to produce wealth. So hope you enjoy the rest of your day. See you soon.